Okay, let's take a look at the testing function of WebWork and your course in general. The tests are different than the quizzes. The quizzes, you have several days over which you can take a few, do a few problems, come back to it, do a few more problems. Every time you check the answer on a problem, it's recorded and you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to submit the quiz as a whole because it's submitted problem by problem. It's not the same with the exams. So let's go down and look at the first exam. Here's the chapter exam, here's the practice exam. You should always take at least one practice exam, and you should take it more than one time if you're at all rusty on this, because the practice exams are nearly identical to the actual exams, except the numbers are slightly different and the problem types may not be exactly the same or in the same order. So all of these have been set up to act like they require proctoring, because the 40% of your grade is the final exam and the midterm, and that requires proctoring. Therefore, by setting all these up to take proctor credentials, you will have practice working that way. So let's look at the practice exam. You should always read the header on any of these assignments. Any page you go to, you should read all the words there. They're there for a reason. And in particular in here is the password that you have to use, which is ZZ grade. So let's just take a look at what that looks like. So first you log in as yourself with your last name and whatever you may have changed the password to. And since this is a proctored gateway quiz, not just a regular quiz like you were taking previously where it's done problem by problem, we'll click continue, and now it requires proctor credentials. And when you take your midterm and final, you won't be able to do this yourself because the online proctor will have to fill these in and verify your IDs and that sort of thing. The practice exams and the regular exams, you will just practice acting like you're your own proctor, and it's ZZ grade, lowercase. And this is required to open up the exam. Okay, so here's the exam. You can see a timer started. It says that there's a little less than an hour left. There are 25 problems. This is the Chapter 1 practice exam. You can jump to any problem you want to jump to by clicking on the problem number, or you can go in order down the page. And which digit is in the 10 millions column of the number, whatever that number is. So here's the thousands, here's the millions, 10 millions. It looks like it's this 7. So let's try the 7. Notice you can't grade this right away. You have to work all the way through all of the 25 problems, and then you have to preview the test, which saves your answers, and then you click grade test, which will open up a proctor login window again, where the proctor will log in to close the test and grade the test. Again, for the practice exams and the chapter exams, that proctor is you, using the ZZ grade password and ID. So we'll not work through this whole thing, but maybe work a few problems. Do not use the back button. Do not open a second window. If you do, you're going to mess up this timer and you will not have an accurate idea of how much time is left. You should also check your start time on your personal timer, your clock, and keep track of that in case you accidentally hit the back button or open another window. So I don't feel like doing subtraction. I guess I can calculate this. That's 5 to the first times 3 squared, that's 9. 5 nines are 45. And after you've answered a few problems, if I'm down here on problem 6, a good idea to preview problems. That means it's going to go back and simply, the reason we do this is to record your intermediate answers. In case something goes wrong or something crashes, you'll have at least those answers saved. I can jump back to 6 where I was working previously. There's the answer I had. Now notice that if I were to do something like, it says find the perimeter of the square, if I were to try something like true in there, which obviously is not the right answer, when you preview problems, and if I jump back to 6, it's highlighted in yellow. What that means is when WebWork parsed that answer, it wasn't anything like it was expecting. Therefore, it highlights it in yellow. If you see something highlighted in yellow, it's telling you that you're not answering the question in a way that WebWork understands it. So, the length of a side of a square, find the perimeter of the square, that would be what, 4 times that, 52? Don't guarantee my answers, I'm doing in my head here. But if I preview problems again, and you may not want to do this every single time, but after every few problems, at least whether or not that's, now you should use your calculator for this, so you don't have to do the thing in your head like I just did. So you work your way through the exam, and when you have finally checked all of your results as over as many times as you want before the exam expires, you want to, this is the most important thing you need to do, you need to click on preview test. That records all the answers on your test. After you do that, if there's still time remaining, you may scroll down here and look for yellow. Any yellow would be something you'd want to address and try to come up with, change the answer to something that WebWork recognizes. After that, you click grade test, and this will submit the entire test for grading. That brings up the proctor window again. On the midterm and the final exam, the online proctor will have to do this, and only they will have the credentials. Since we're just practicing this with the practice exams and the chapter exams, you enter ZZ grade, now if this was your midterm or final, you would have worked for a good while and interacted with the proctor, and they would have entered their credentials here, and you would need to make sure that they did that because they aren't that familiar with our testing system. You should be. And then you click continue. And if you do not see a green banner up here with your grades, something's not right. If it's a proctored test, then you would want to talk to the proctor about it, and if the problem can't be resolved, you would have to, they would contact me and you can contact me. So I only got 12 out of 100, and that's just fine, given that I didn't take all of them. And the time on the test, you may not take the test, well, you can take the test again, but only the first one counts. So if I wanted to, and I wanted to really be careful to check this, I could go to the course homepage and I could look at my grades. And I just took the practice, here I got 12%. I guess that's what I got. Score is 12. Okay, so chapter 1, practice exam, test 1, yeah, got 12%, not so good. And I got the first one right, and 2, 3, 4, fifth one right, and so on. So that is taking a WebWork exam.